Well, we're going to have to delete that. Wow, that is some crazy stuff. Hold your rock and roll back at you. Had to restart. That is some messed up stuff. If you caught the earlier stuff. Here we are. I wanted to give you a quick rundown of what's available on the torrents that's been in the theaters since we last chatted. I think it was end of November. Girl in the Train was the last movie that I reviewed in the previous video in this series, in this playlist. What's up next is Inferno, which was a crap movie. I don't even recommend you watch it. Total crap. Siren was actually pretty awesome. Siren is about a bunch of guys at a bachelor party, and well, let's see what it says. What does it say about it? Okay, well, film adapted from anthology segment Amateur Night, but essentially it is a horror flick. A bunch of guys go to a bachelor party and they open the door for one of the dancers and literally all hell breaks loose. But it's worth seeing. Could actually be a good date flick if your girl likes horror. Sugar Mountain, right here, Sugar Mountain. Wow, pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. It's here's what it says. Two brothers down on their luck fake a disappearance in the Alaskan wilderness, so they'll have a great survival story to sell. But the hoax turns out to be more real than they planned. It actually is exactly as it says. A lot of twists and turns. And it is a good movie. Definitely worth watching. Sugar Mountain. Good quality torrent as well. Spectral. This is a Netflix movie. Special agent team is dispatched to fight supernatural beings that have taken over a European city. Okay, it's a little bit like Terminator. No, Alien. No, Predator. It's a little bit like Predator, but there's more than one Predator. Okay, it's actually a pretty decent flick. I remember seeing it. It's okay. I would probably give it one thumb up. It wasn't great, but it was pretty decent. Kill ratio is, oh my god, this is maybe making fun of what happened in Ukraine, but an attack on a new president in a fledgling Eastern European democracy pits an American covert operative against the country's ruthless military leader determined to seize control of the government. It's okay. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was okay. As far as these types of movies go, one man versus an army, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was great, but it wasn't bad. Now here, Steven Seagal, Contract to Kill. Steven, how old is this guy? Is he like 70 now? 80? If you're a Steven Seagal fan, you will like this movie. It's actually not bad. Now, the first 10-15 minutes, if you're into geopolitics and what's happening in the world, it's actually very interesting and sort of based on sort of realistic what's happening right now with terrorism and all this kind of stuff. But then it gets kind of hokey in the middle for a while before getting a little bit better. Some twists and turns, it's a little bit predictable, but again, if you like Steven Seagal, you're gonna really like this movie. If you don't like Steven Seagal, you might think it's kind of okay. Deepwater Horizon, it's about what happened when the BP contracted company, I forget the name of the company, but their BP messed up, and it's fully documented in this movie. and the oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico burst, killing several people, a lot of people, hurting a lot of others, and it became a total loss. So this is a good movie documenting what happened, if you want to know what happened. Here we go, Bad Santa. This movie was hard to watch, I gotta be honest with you. It's hard for me to watch pathetic losers, and especially if the whole family is like that. But that's what this is. I guess it's I didn't see Bad Santa 1, but this must be a continuation of that. At least the ending is relatively positive, let's say, but it's hard to watch for me, these types of movies where it's like a black comedy. But anyhow, if you're in that kind of mood, or you're open to watching it, or if you like this guy, this actor, then it might be okay for you. Bad Santa, right there. Bad Santa 2. Moana. It's I didn't actually watch it. I got it for the kids. They enjoyed it. They said it was good. The voice of this, I guess, male, maybe god figure is The Rock. So that's probably a good thing. Now here's Kevin Hart's comedy movie that he did on stage. It opens up with kind of like a James Bondish poker night in a casino, and it's pretty funny. Kevin Hart is pretty funny, and this is a good movie. It's whatever. It's a comedy special. Excuse me, which I enjoyed it, and I think it's worth seeing if you want some comedy. Keeping Up with the Joneses. It was, you know what? This is Gafalafis, whatever his name is, Zach Gafalafis. This was pretty funny. It was another pretty funny movie. You know, an ordinary suburban couple finds it's not easy keeping up with the Joneses. They're impossible, gorgeous, and ultra-sophisticated new neighbors, especially when they discover that Mr. and Mrs. Jones are covert operatives. So that's what's up with that. It's worth seeing. It was pretty okay. Definitely worth seeing. Keeping Up with the Joneses. Here's Jack Reacher. It recently came out with a good quality cut. Jack Reacher, Never Surrender, and it's not as good as the first one, but it's okay. I mean, it's okay if you're into Jack Reacher and you can stomach Tom Cruise. I thought he did really good in the first one. This one was different, but the same. You know, somebody's in trouble, he comes. They're afraid that he might help them out, and you know the rest. You know the rest of the story. War on Everyone. This is a police story. Two corrupt cops in New Mexico set out to blackmail and frame every criminal unfortunate enough to cross their path. Things take a sinister turn, however, when they try to intimidate someone who is more dangerous than they are. Or is he? So, yeah. Decent movie. It's worth watching. War on Everyone. It's definitely worth watching. Arsenal. Oh yeah, wow. With Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, I believe, is wearing a nose prosthetic in this movie. And it says, after a deadbeat brother of a businessman is assumed to be in on his own kidnapping, his sibling must take action to rescue him. So that's what they say about the movie. Brotherhood has its price. It's a little bit more twisted than that, but it's definitely a good movie, worth seeing. So I would say, if you can watch it, Arsenal was actually pretty good. Come and Find Me. I remember this movie. Don't have to go into it. Basically, like a beta guy with a beautiful girlfriend, and she suddenly one day just goes missing, and he tries to find her. And the powers that be do not want him to find her, and it gets pretty interesting after that. So definitely worth watching. Definitely a decent date flick, actually. Bring your woman along on that, and then maybe have a conversation. Would you find me if I disappeared? Kind of stuff. But this was a good movie. Come and Find Me. I did enjoy that. Now, the Autopsy of Jane Doe, a lot of people have heard about this. It's a horror flick. Basically, two people, I think, are found dead in their house, and this body is discovered as well. And they do an autopsy on it. And strange and horrific things start happening. Let me just leave it at that. So, I did not like the ending. Because you really you get close to these characters, and there's the one actor here, the older man. Is it who is it? Is it Emil Hirsch? Maybe. I don't know if it's Emil Hirsch or Brian Cox. Probably it's Amelia Hirsch. Maybe that's the woman. Actually, I don't know who the older man is, but the older man in this movie, you'll recognize him. He's played in a lot of movies. He's actually probably may even be an Academy Award-winning actor. He's the lead doctor, and his son are coroners, and it's definitely a good movie. I just didn't like the ending, and I'm curious how you felt if you saw the movie. Did you like the ending? Patriots Day next is from 2016. This is the story behind the Muslim #Islam sucks balls. By the way. Muslim brothers in Boston who did the Boston Marathon bombing, and it describes the whole what happened, basically from start to finish. And it talks about, obviously you have some of the people who were intimately involved on the police side trying to figure out what happened and bring these guys to justice. So, just like you saw in the police reports, it's pretty graphic. It's very graphic in terms of what happened, and they show it all. So, if you have any doubts that it was an inside job and that the victims were fake, were crises actors, that people were already pre-amputated, come on, wake up, people. This was a real Islamic terrorist attack in America. Okay? No doubt about it. The Operation Chromite. Now, many people don't realize, obviously, if you've been in the military, especially the Marine Corps, you know about Operation Chromite, or even the Army, when the U.S. military basically invaded North Korea during the Korean conflict and jumped in at Incheon, which was the most dangerous, risky operation of the war, but it cut off the North Korean and the Chinese communist supply lines, and and basically helped bring the war to an end, because the Americans and the Allies, the UN forces, basically got all the way up to I believe it was the Yangtze River, right there up against the Chinese border, before they were turned back and basically, ordered to pull back. But the general here, played by Liam Neeson, that's not Eisenhower. He was the guy from the Philippines who said, "I shall return." That's on the tip of my tongue. Nielsen plays a good role, but the story is not about the Americans so much. It's about the South Koreans, or the patriotic Koreans, who went into the North to prepare for the invasion. And this is really a good story. I don't know how, it says it's a true story based on a true story, but really it shows you that the South Koreans wanted their country back. They didn't want it to be taken over by the communists, and it shows you the bravery and what they went through to prep for the invasion, get information that would be needed to allow the invasion to go forward. And I don't know if the ending is accurate, historically accurate, but it's a good movie. Operation Chromite. A little bit, I wouldn't say it's low budget, but a lot of CGI. Obviously, you're not going to have naval ships with 16 gun salutes going off in real life anymore. But it's a good movie. I would definitely give it 2 thumbs up from a historical standpoint, and just very interesting. Now, Hidden Figures. I don't know how accurate this is, but it's supposedly based on a true story of these 3 African American women. I went and looked on Wikipedia, these women, and look, I'm not saying anything about that they weren't black. They were not black. The pictures were black and white, but at least 2 of these women were as black as I am. So I'm just saying they were mulatto. were they still black? Obviously, they were treated as black. Anyway, the story is that these 3 women helped NASA and the space program with mathematics and computer science, and they basically were the ones who made it happen for the captain, right? Or at least in a large part. Mathematics, trajectory, all this kind of stuff. They were brilliant in what they did. And one of the women, a wing was actually named after her. So that's what this movie is about, Hidden Figures. And you see in there an IBM mainframe. I guess it's from 1963 maybe, 1964-ish. And it kind of doesn't show the IBM consultants in a good light. Now here we go, Karbala. This is from 2015. It's a Polish production. There's an inside story that's not important, but anyhow, this is about the Polish and Bulgarian troops that were stationed in Iraq, in Baghdad, I believe it was Sadr City, and they were occupying the town hall, or the mayor's house, or the city hall building. And the Shia militias, backed by this radical Shia preacher, were trying to kick them out. I mean, some of this stuff in war, it's just so stupid, right? Like, these guys are just sitting in the house, in the building, just occupying it, and you're willing to, hundreds of people are willing to die to get them out of the building when they're not doing anything. You know what I mean? Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I'm sorry for my regression, but the main point is these Polish troops fought valiantly. It's focusing really on the Polish troops that fought in Karbala. Basically, for 48 hours, they were under constant attack by these people with no backup for 48 hours. And when they were relieved, the public report said that, it's all political. It's all political. Said that it was the Iraqi troops that defended the town hall, city hall, when it was not true. Just not true. Live by Night, or Live by Night. This is like a bootlegger movie taking place during Prohibition. And you got Ben Affleck, who plays this crime figure who goes down to Florida to secure the rights for distributing rum up north. And there's a lot of twists and turns in terms of why he was put into this position, and revenge and all this kind of stuff. But it was a pretty good movie. I don't know how accurate it is historically, even if it's based on what happened during Prohibition. But some of the stuff definitely happened, and it's worth seeing. It's pretty decent. It actually could be a pretty good date flick. There's a romance part of this movie, it's worth seeing. Hacksaw Ridge, and there's a lot of racism in this movie. You can see that this guy was just real quick. This guy, and it mentions it. Not only does he have to fight other mob bosses, but he has to fight the KKK down in Florida to secure his business, activities, even though they are illegal. Now, Hacksaw Ridge. This is a Mel Gibson film. Mel Gibson, I believe he got an Academy Award, at least a nomination for this. It's a freaking awesome movie. Freaking awesome movie. This is regarding the Battle of Okinawa in Japan, where you had this conscientious objector, and this is a true story about this guy who refused to kill people, but he was a hero and won the Congressional Medal of Honor for saving probably up to 100 people off the battlefield. It's an incredible story. It's very graphic. It's very moving. Mel Gibson definitely is back. He's always been involved in, I would say almost always been involved in excellent movies, and this is just another one that also helps talk about Christian values in a way. So it was a great movie, Hacksaw Ridge. Now, Allied. This is a Brad Pitt film about two Western, I guess they're British spies in North Africa. Starts out in North Africa, and then they return to England and get married. And let's see what it says here so I don't give anything away. In 1942, an intelligence officer in North Africa encounters a female French resistance fighter on a deadly mission behind enemy lines. Yes. When they reunite in London, their relationship is tested by the pressures of war. Okay. Doesn't tell you much, but it was a pretty decent movie. Kind of slow in the beginning, kind of speeds up during the critical action scenes, and then kind of slows down again, and then sort of just after the midsection when the big question is popped, and then Brad Pitt's character goes against orders and tries to solve the puzzle. But it's a good movie. I would say I'm hesitant to give it 2 thumbs up because it wasn't that great, but definitely 1 thumb up. It's definitely worth seeing. Now this next one, Wolves and Sheep, is a cartoon, an animated movie. I saw it. I mean, for kids who don't read into anything, I think this is fine. But I'm wondering if there was some transgender, trans-species type commentary kind of going on this. If you see it, let's see what it says so I don't give away anything. Let's see what the public review or whatever says. Okay, in a magical faraway land, in a picturesque little village nestled among green meadows and rolling hills, lives a flock of carefree sheep, but their pastoral and stress-free life is interrupted when a pack of wolves sets up camp in the nearby ravine. Okay, that's not totally true, but it's basically what happens, and then there's other basically interactions between the wolves and the sheep, and you see what happens. For kids, it's a great movie, good quality torrent. It's worth seeing for kids. You keep them entertained. Now, Fences. Oh my God, Fences. I did not want to see this. It's in 1950s Pittsburgh. I thought he was in San Francisco. But anyhow, it says in 1950s Pittsburgh, a frustrated African-American father struggles with the constraints of poverty, racism, and his own inner demons as he tries to raise a family. That's pretty accurate. I was resistant to see this because I thought it was going to be another, boo-hoo-hoo, poor black man kind of movie, but it's not. It is. I'm wondering if this was written to be a play, because the beginning is kind of, you might say it's boring for a movie because it's just a lot of dialogue, back and forth, this witty dialogue. P.S. A lot of the N-word is thrown around by mainly Denzel Washington. A lot of N-word droppage. So if you don't want your kids exposed to that, definitely not for kids to see. Teenagers, I would say maybe yes, and if you can sit with them and explain to them what this language is about and not to use it, would be good. But God, it has so many twists and turns in this movie that it was an awesome movie, and I have to say, tearjerker at the end. Definitely a tearjerker at the end. Fences with Denzel Washington and this woman who played his wife, Rose. I'm sorry I didn't check the name, but she was amazing. I mean, she should get an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. I mean, it was amazing. Now, this Sing is a cartoon about a koala who wants to get into show business. And it's I didn't watch the whole thing, but my kids saw it. It's actually a cam, and not great quality, but it was okay. It's enough for the kids to watch, and they liked it. Nocturnal Animals. Wow. Nocturnal Animals. With Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, the last movie that he was in that I reviewed, when he was the independent reporter, I mean, this guy was awesome, right? In that movie, he's like a wolf. In this movie, he's kind of a pussy, but okay, well, as I would say, a woman named Susan receives a book manuscript from her ex-husband, which is this Jake guy, a man she left 20 years earlier, asking for her opinion of his writing. As she reads, she is drawn into the fictional life of Tony Hastings, a math professor whose family vacation turns violent. So yeah, that's the movie. It's actually a good movie. What is it? When you love someone, you just can't throw it away? Okay, whatever. It was a good movie, and you really have to pay attention because the way they cut it, the way they edited it, you have to be kind of conscious or focused. Like, is it talking about now, or is it talking about the book, or is it talking about the relationship that these two had before they got divorced? So it makes it a little bit hard to understand if you're not paying attention. But it's a good movie. It's definitely worth watching. I'd have to give it 2 thumbs up. A lot of twists and turns in it as well. Yeah, the ending, you kind of saw it. You kind of saw it coming, but it still was a good movie. So those are all the movies that I have at this juncture since our last video live stream in November 2016. Here it is, February the 5th, 2017. I'm Holy Joe Rock and Roll saying make it happen for the captain. And after what we saw the left and liberal Hollywood do, except for Mel Gibson and maybe this guy, Denzel Washington, I don't know. I think he was maybe kind of neutral, but except for Mel Gibson and Denzel Washington, I would not buy any of these freaking movies if you can watch them for free on the torrents or online. I'm Holy Joe Rock and Roll reminding you to make it happen for the captain because you're the captain. And I'm signing off now. Thanks for watching.